Welcome to Bills Nation Daily, your ultimate daily dose of everything Buffalo Bills. Hit that subscribe button and join the most passionate Bills fans as we break down all the latest news, highlights, and game analysis. Go Bills! The NFL world is buzzing tonight as rumors that once seemed impossible have now solidified into cold, hard reality, leaving fans and analysts alike scrambling to process the implications. The Cleveland Browns, long criticized for their defensive inconsistencies and unpredictable draft strategies, have officially closed a blockbuster deal that will send shockwaves through the league for years to come. Sources close to the team indicate that the Bills, desperate to inject a new level of aggression and game-changing talent into their defense, have managed to finalize a deal that brings Myles Garrett, one of the most feared pass rushers in modern football, into their fold. While the financial details remain under wraps, insiders suggest that the contract includes incentives that could elevate Garrett into the upper echelon of NFL salaries, reflecting his dominance on the field and the expectation that he will immediately shift the balance of power in the league. The Browns, in turn, reportedly receive multiple draft picks and potential player swaps that allow them to rebuild strategically while opening up opportunities to restructure their roster in ways that could prevent future collapses during critical late-season games. Fans are already flooding social media with speculations about how this transaction will influence divisional dynamics, playoff predictions, and even the morale within locker rooms that are used to seeing familiar faces traded mid-season. Every analyst, from local sports radio hosts to nationally recognized commentators, is now scrambling to reinterpret team strategies in light of Garrett's impending arrival. The trade, officially confirmed but still shrouded in behind-the-scenes maneuvering, marks not just a player transfer, but a seismic narrative shift in how both franchises will approach the upcoming season, forcing opponents to rethink their offensive and defensive game plans months before kickoff. The excitement and uncertainty now coexist in a mix that is electrifying fans who have been yearning for a story with high stakes and immediate consequences. Reports suggest that the negotiations leading up to Garrett's trade were intense, extending over several weeks and involving multiple intermediary meetings where both teams weighed not only player value, but also the psychological impact of such a high-profile move. Sources say that the Browns' front office, under pressure to demonstrate responsiveness to past criticisms, may have initially resisted the idea, questioning whether letting go of franchise-altering talent like Garrett could risk alienating their core fan base. On the other side, the Bills management is said to have made aggressive maneuvers, including sweetened financial packages and public relations assurances to secure consent from Garrett himself, whose preference for competitive opportunity and championship contention played a critical role in pushing the trade to completion. Analysts are now theorizing how Garrett's presence in Buffalo could redefine not just defensive schemes, but also the marketability of the franchise as it aims to attract a more national audience hungry for playoff narratives. The Browns, meanwhile, face the challenge of transforming what could be perceived as a loss into a strategic pivot, utilizing the newly acquired draft assets to address glaring gaps in depth and potentially secure future stars who can emulate Garrett's impact. Pundits are also examining the ripple effects this trade might have on divisional rivalries, noting that opponents will now have to recalibrate their offensive line protections, quarterback decision-making, and play-calling strategies in anticipation of a player whose ability to disrupt defensive rhythms is virtually unparalleled. Social media chatter is dense with speculation about the personal dynamics this move might create within locker rooms, with fans debating whether Garrett's departure will lead to morale issues in Cleveland or a surge of renewed ambition among remaining players who now see themselves as architects of a new chapter. Meanwhile, Buffalo supporters are already imagining high-stakes matchups in which Garrett's presence could turn the tide of critical games, transforming what were once evenly matched contests into potential defensive showcases that could dominate highlight reels and define the upcoming season's narrative. The energy surrounding this development is palpable, with every conversation, tweet, and live broadcast feeding into the growing anticipation that the NFL is entering a phase of strategic recalibration, fueled by a trade that, whether seen as a win or a loss, is undeniably monumental in scope. League insiders are increasingly pointing out that this trade could be part of a broader pattern where elite teams actively pursue single, transformative talents rather than building slowly through draft cycles, signaling a potential shift in competitive philosophy that might reshape the sport over the next decade. The narrative emerging from Buffalo is one of immediate ambition, a front office willing to make bold moves to capitalize on a window of opportunity while avoiding the stagnation that has plagued other franchises unable to adapt quickly enough to rising stars elsewhere. Conversely, the Browns' approach appears calculated, emphasizing long-term flexibility and asset accumulation while subtly positioning the franchise as a clever navigator of the league's increasingly unpredictable talent marketplace. This duality of strategy is itself creating an atmosphere ripe for speculation, with fans, commentators, and analysts endlessly debating which philosophy will ultimately prove superior in a league where margin of error is notoriously narrow and unpredictability reigns supreme. Even within the locker rooms, insiders hint at subtle but significant adjustments, with players re-evaluating their roles, understanding that Garrett's departure or arrival could drastically alter expectations, leadership structures, and motivational dynamics. Sports psychologists are reportedly observing that trades of this magnitude can create temporary disruption, but also ignite competitive energy as athletes are forced to adapt to new challenges, teammates, and systems at an accelerated pace. Meanwhile, fantasy football managers are scrambling to reconfigure their rosters, aware that Garrett's relocation may trigger a chain reaction of player value adjustments, defensive performance recalculations, and game projection revisions. The financial implications are equally significant, with salary cap considerations, bonus structures, and future draft flexibility becoming critical discussion points for both organizations, as insiders note that a single trade like this has ramifications far beyond the immediate season, potentially influencing contractual negotiations for years. The ripple effects of Garrett's trade are being dissected across podcasts, sports shows, and online forums, where theories range from instant championship catalyst to risk-laden gamble, highlighting the diverse lenses through which observers interpret the same event. Ultimately, the narrative is no longer just about the trade itself, but about the psychological, tactical, and financial ecosystems that surround such a high-profile acquisition, elevating what might have been a routine off-season transaction into a story of monumental significance. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Speculation continues to mount regarding the potential on-field impact, with coaches and former players weighing in on how Garrett's presence could alter defensive alignments, pass rush timing, and quarterback pressure patterns across the league. Analysts note that the Bills may leverage Garrett's versatility to create hybrid defensive schemes that blur the traditional distinctions between edge rusher and interior disruptor, making it difficult for opposing offenses to anticipate formations or blocking assignments. This strategic uncertainty could result in dramatic shifts in game outcomes, particularly in tightly contested matchups where a single sack or forced fumble might determine playoff positioning or seeding. Meanwhile, the Browns' future plans are being closely scrutinized, with insiders suggesting that the team may pivot toward developing a younger core that can adapt to the evolving landscape of NFL offense while leveraging the newfound draft capital to accelerate talent acquisition. Fans are already projecting highlight reels of Garrett dominating offensive lines and turning crucial moments into game-changing plays, fueling excitement and speculation that the Bills could emerge as defensive juggernauts capable of altering the competitive equilibrium in their division. On the flip side, critics caution that such moves carry inherent risks, emphasizing that even elite talent cannot guarantee success without complementary roster depth, effective coaching schemes, and consistent execution under pressure. Discussions among commentators highlight the psychological implications as well, considering how Garrett's relocation might influence team culture, cohesion, and leadership hierarchies, potentially creating tensions or inspiring new levels of performance depending on interpersonal dynamics. Betting markets have reportedly responded with volatility, reflecting the uncertainty and intrigue surrounding this development, as odds for divisional and conference championships shift in real time to accommodate the ripple effects of a single trade. Ultimately, the consensus among insiders is that this acquisition is not just a transaction. It is a statement of intent, a signal to the league and fans alike that Buffalo is committed to pursuing excellence aggressively, while Cleveland is navigating a path toward long-term structural advantage, balancing ambition, risk, and future opportunity in a narrative that is as complex as it is compelling. Industry observers are increasingly highlighting how this move underscores the evolving nature of player agency in modern professional sports, where elite athletes like Garrett have greater leverage in influencing team decisions, contract negotiations, and personal brand positioning. The ability of a franchise to attract and retain such talent is now closely intertwined with its public perception, marketing appeal, and capacity to offer meaningful opportunities for both on-field success and personal visibility, illustrating that the transactional nature of trades extends well beyond simple talent exchanges. In this case, the Bills' front office appears to have recognized the multiple layers of influence Garrett wields, aligning financial incentives, championship ambitions, and media positioning to ensure a smooth integration that benefits both the player and the organization. Conversely, the Browns' willingness to part with an elite talent suggests confidence in their internal evaluation processes, roster flexibility, and capacity to optimize incoming assets, signaling that the franchise views strategic planning and adaptability as key competitive differentiators. Social media has become a central forum for dissecting every aspect of this trade, with fan communities, analysts, and sports influencers generating endless content that explores potential game-changing matchups, hypothetical scenarios, and the broader implications for league dynamics. This trade also reignites discussions about the relative merits of building through draft development versus aggressive acquisition of established stars, a debate that has long divided coaching philosophies, front office strategies, and fan perspectives alike. Ultimately, the Garrett trade is serving as a lens through which the shifting paradigms of modern NFL management, player empowerment, and media engagement are being examined, creating a narrative that is both deeply strategic and intensely human. The emotional resonance of this trade cannot be overstated, as fans of both franchises are experiencing a roller coaster of reactions, from elation and optimism in Buffalo to disappointment and concern in Cleveland, reflecting the deeply personal connection supporters develop with players, team identity, and season-long expectations. Analysts highlight that while on-field performance metrics will ultimately determine the tangible success of this trade, the cultural and emotional impacts are equally significant, influencing fan loyalty, ticket sales, and community engagement in profound ways. Commentators have pointed out that Garrett's presence in Buffalo may inspire younger athletes within the region, create new marketing narratives, and elevate the team's profile nationally, while the Browns face the challenge of reinforcing morale and maintaining fan trust amid a significant roster transition. The trade has also reignited debates about the balance between immediate gratification and long-term planning in professional sports, emphasizing the tension between acquiring star talent now versus cultivating sustainable, adaptable rosters over multiple seasons. Sports psychologists and leadership consultants have weighed in, suggesting that such high-profile transactions can either catalyze renewed motivation or introduce performance anxiety, depending on how effectively coaching staff and management navigate the integration of new talent. Ultimately, this story is more than just a trade. It represents a confluence of strategy, ambition, and human emotion, capturing the imagination of a league, its players, and its fans in ways that few single events manage to achieve. As the season approaches, all eyes will be on Garrett's debut, the Bills' performance, and the Browns' next moves, creating a narrative arc that promises to dominate headlines, water cooler conversations, and social media feeds alike. The anticipation is electric, the stakes are high, and the ripple effects are set to redefine the contours of competition and storytelling in the NFL for the foreseeable future. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.